It's finally here. You've been waiting all season for this, and the Chiefs and the 49ers are about to head off and get to that promised land that is Super Bowl 54. Let's start talking about what is going to go on, who's going to do it, and what it's going to look like. Welcome back, everybody, and for all you new fans, welcome to the channel. My name's Ryan, and this is me going rogue on the NFL and the Kansas City Chiefs. A lot of newbies been around lately, so I want to say hi and say welcome to the channel. I'm going to go over film today. It's something that I do every week when it comes to the Kansas City Chiefs, and we'll take a look at the Niners here as well. If you are new to the channel, hit the sub, the notification bell. Make sure you hit down to the all option, and leave your comment below. Leave me a thumbs up if you like this video. There's a lot going on, and they just are getting started at this point. Media night has kicked off. Official practice starts tomorrow by the time you guys see this. It's going to be a really interesting challenge here with a great run game on one side, a great pass game on the other, two really stout defenses in different ways. I feel like this is going to be a pretty good battle all the way around. Now, there's a number of players that are going to play key roles, and there's a couple of guys that I think really might be able to step outside of themselves, and we're going to see how they progress here, and we'll take a look at the film here in a couple of minutes, but want to go over a couple of things that I feel like right off the bat, I think there's a lot of subtle things going on. It's not being over-purported that the Chiefs have everybody available for practice. That's a huge deal. More so than I think the national media chooses to cover, because this team's been pretty beat down all season. And at this point, to have everybody available, it gives you the most options, the widest range of possibilities in terms of who you might need to use to tackle what is a very stout Niners offense, as well as to be really creative on your side of the ball, because it's about being efficient and scoring points on your possessions in this Super Bowl. That's what it comes down to. You're going to have a couple of hiccups back and forth on the defensive side. You're going to have, hopefully, not many hiccups on the offensive side to use so that you can keep the pressure on. These Chiefs have to stay balanced, and they have to stay efficient on the offensive side, and that's going to be key. I think a lot of things are starting to kind of take some focus, things that Niners have said in some press, a couple of things the Chiefs have said as well. I think both teams seem fairly loose. I think it's a little more businesslike from the Chiefs at this point. It's to the point where one thing I really like to point out is it doesn't seem that D Ford is 100% over what happened last season. Frank Clark's been very adamant and bringing it up pretty consistently that actually cost them so much in terms of what they were able to do last year that he won't allow that to happen again. And D Ford has come around to even admitting, hey, it's something I had to get over. And that in the back of my head says that Frank Clark is effectively playing mind games with one of their premier pass rushers that used to play for this team. And I think that kind of, mental warfare, psych ops, they used to call it, I think that plays a key. If you can diffuse part of what makes them so great in their defensive front, it really plays into what the Chiefs want to do. So without further ado, we're going to break this down a couple of different ways. I'm going to start on one section today. We'll look at the film. Then we're going to flip it here in the next couple of days, and I'll get to what I think this game's going to look like. Make sure that you continue to follow along. We're going to have content for you every day on this channel. There'll be podcasts. There'll hopefully be some guests coming. I have a couple of friends working on a couple of things, some faces or voices you might recognize. So keep it here, and let's go get into the film. We're going to start today by looking at a common theme that flows through the last, 6 or so games for the San Francisco 49ers. It's something that can be exploited by the Chiefs, and it's going to come in a couple of different flavors, but there's one common thread. I'm not going to give it away yet. We're going to go through these plays, and I want to show you a couple of things. It's going to start here against the Pack, a team that beat the Chiefs earlier in the season. And you know what? They have some interesting capabilities. They have a quarterback that can sling it a lot like Mahomes. I still feel those two are very similar. They start out in a formation that should look very familiar to you. Twins up top, single back, single tight end, and another receiver. The tight end's the one to watch. He's going to get a pretty clean release, and this is going to be San Francisco doing what they do. They are a predominantly zone team. They will play man. I think it's roughly about 30% from what I've seen. I don't have the exact numbers because those aren't available to the public, but it comes down to they're going to do that first. That's their comfort zone, their bread and butter. They'll go to man when they need to, when they feel like it. Usually on third down, when they're sending some kind of a fifth pass rusher, they'll jump into man at that point. And I think that is a whole separate topic that can be exploited later by the Chiefs. But for right now, we're going to roll it and show us what they're doing in their zone and how this works. Keep an eye on Jimmy Graham here. As he comes off, this is D Ford that's going to run around him. And instantly, what you see is that you have both of the corners dropping into what's a cover three. You have a single high safety. It's going to take the middle of the field. Classic cover three. But this guy's pivoted around. So Sherman's going to take his chance. There's the middle defender here in the hook, and then there's this linebacker. And he doesn't quite understand his responsibility. Jimmy does. Jimmy takes advantage of it and just goes for the distance. Now, this is not an overly athletic move by Jimmy Graham, especially at his age, but this is something that Travis Kelce can do. Gives him a little out, just kind of a rounded out and up, to tell you the truth, but goes for that pylon, and that's what gets him more of the way there. And this is something that Pat Mahomes can make this throw in his sleep. So look for this to be something. If they get single high, they'll try to attack down there. Here we're going to see another look that might be familiar to you. This is the Rams running against the Niners here. With splits, you have wide receiver, and you have this kind of stacked tight end look. And that's really what's going to be key. This is going to be, again, their flavor of cover three over the top and different areas of responsibility for the linebackers. And this is seriously a matchup that I feel that the Chiefs can take advantage of in these linebackers. We're going to see more on them later and how there are different variations to attack the middle of this field. The middle of the field's key in this game, and I do feel that it's something the Chiefs can take advantage of. But again, watch how the play develops, and we'll see exactly who's doing what. They bring a little extra pressure, but right now you have corner dropping, cover three with the guy in the middle. These linebackers are a little bunched up for what they're doing, and everyone's running toward the line of scrimmage, maybe at a 45. And watch what this secondary tight end does. Just runs away from coverage. These linebackers have been pretty vaunted to this point, but this really shows what they are and aren't capable of. And running with a guy that gets a free release is part of it. This is a play that the Chiefs can run very, very well. Here we go. 89 going to come off. And you've seen a lot of guys line up there. Bell's lined up there. Sherm's lined up there. Even Kelce has done that by inverting how they line up the tight ends. I do expect to see this from the Chiefs or something very similar to it. Now, I think part of this too is that the immediacy of the route is something that you can sell if you're Travis Kelce. He does like to give a little bit of shake. You're going to see how this comes off and pay particular attention to this tight end's feet because that's what sells it. Gonna block, nope, and then boom, he's out. And he's got enough athletic ability to run away. Travis Kelce certainly does, but it's about beating Sherman to the spot. Here's a way that the Saints attack cover three, and again, a lot of similarities. Chiefs run this as well. You're going to see this probably quite a bit, to tell you the truth, in the pass attack. And that is really what I think the Chiefs want to do. I don't think they want to try to run into the teeth of this defensive front. If they do run the ball with any great consistency, it's going to be the outside. It's going to be on pitches. Maybe a little bit of counter, but I think you're going to see them attack the edges in the run game, not try to run into the teeth. But this is a 3-by-1, and the Chiefs run this quite a lot. Backside, singled up wide receiver. This is 3 here, and this happens to be Jared Cook. You guys remember him from the Raiders. He's been a Saint for quite a while. And he is going to do something that Travis Kelce does quite regularly as well. This is just going to be a way that you can attack the far gap in a cover 3. Again, you can see how corners are turned. They're ready to play their cover 3, their base defense, as you would expect. It's this safety that's got the job to do. He's got the decision making. He's got to break on the ball in a way that actually allows him to get there. And that's what Cook has the athletic advantage of, and so does Travis Kelce. So again, watch how he comes off the ball and what they do with him. As he's coming in, he's got shallow zones. He runs right through it. And right here, he's breaking on the ball, and you see the triangle. You've got to beaten linebacker here. You've got the free safety that's got to come up. The ball's got to be out and be delivered in this gap so that he can have a chance to make the catch and run with it. It's a little bit late. He gets bumped, but he still manages to stay up, and that's a touchdown. This is something that Travis Kelce can do with pretty much ease, and knowing the arm that Patrick Mahomes has, when he gets this kind of release, unfettered, and is able to just run, right now the ball's on Travis Kelce, and Kelce's running away at this point. This is going to be a big play and something that I expect them to try at least a few times. Here against the Saints, you have another variation of 3-by-1. There's 3 receivers down here, 1 up to the top, single back. Now, the Niners are trying to get some added pressure on them. That's something that they feel that they need to do at this point in the game. This is like at 40-45 in this shootout that they had with the Saints. So they're trying to bring extra pressure. You're going to see a lot of pressure up here from these front 6. They're playing 5. And when the Niners get desperate, that's what they're going to do. They're going to bring more pressure with added either rushers or maybe a delayed blitz. And it's going to put more pressure on what their base is. This is still going to try to be cover 3 at first, but you'll see what that does. In having only 5 in coverage, it puts a lot of pressure on the linebackers to guard the middle of the field because the 3 deep have to maintain that 3 deep. And this is how you can take advantage of it. This is going to be a nice under drag from a guy that has a similar skill set to some of the Chiefs receivers. And at this point, you can see deep corner. There's their 3, and the linebackers are stuck here. Now, there's a possibility that Drew Brees could try to throw him open right over here. That's a tough call, though. But this is going to become very evident that Brandon Cooks, a guy that has nice speed, like Hardman, like Hill, is going to be able to run away from his coverage because he's got 5 yards on him now, and he just has to accelerate. If he had continued just running for the sideline to make that turn, it would have been a whole lot easier. But this is a play that the Chiefs can make a lot of hay from, no matter what position the wide receiver's in when they go under it. If they can get added pressure, this is a big play that Mahomes can make a big read and get home on and take advantage of what the Niners give him. Continuing with the pass game, we want to isolate one of the defenders that I think they can take advantage of. And this is a specific way. It's hard to make this comparison on a skill set alone because this is Julio Jones we see at the bottom of the screen here that we're going to isolate. But the Chiefs can run this general formation, and if this is Sammy Watkins, in terms of physicality, I think you can compare them very favorably. Jump ball, some of the other things, I don't think that Sammy's quite in the league with Julio, who I still feel is one of the top 3 receivers in the league. But in terms of physicality, in running the route and getting back off and being able to muscle through, I think this is something the Chiefs can take advantage of here. This is just a straight corner route that he breaks back to the end line. And being able to make that quick stop and accelerate back out, that's something Sammy Watkins can do. And Mosley is not strong enough to fight that off. This is something that I think is going to be available and something that I'd like to see them do. And if not throw this ball, I'd like to see them use it to set up the slant because that is something that Sammy makes a lot of good moves on. I want to see that in this Super Bowl. Now here's something new, a little bit of a change. Every now and then they'll throw this in there. And this is going to be the Niners going to a split safety look. And it's going to put a lot of pressure on what you can do out of this slot. You can see how much this pseudo safety is off. This is not a nickel corner that's up there in position to reroute or anything like that. This is a safety that's walked up, and it's partially because he's got responsibility to get it back. As we roll it forward, you're going to see at the snap, he's diving down, backing up. And this is Julio Jones stemming straight at him. And that's fine. That's not really his responsibility. He didn't get out of his break fast enough. But when you look at it again, this is something that puts a lot of pressure on that free safety. This is, again, something that you can get Travis Kelce, you can get Sammy Watkins, you can get Demarcus Robinson in here. Just a nice little route in between the hashes that makes that free safety come up and put a lick on you. Given the way that Mahomes can deliver the ball, I think this is a play that's going to be there as well. And you got to hope that most of the Chiefs receivers outside of Hill and Hardman are going to be able to run through it and make a big play just like this. I would like to see them go back to this a few times. Let me know what you think. If you like this one, click the sub, the notification bell, click it all. Make sure you leave a comment and a thumbs up. I appreciate all you new fans checking out the channel. It's been fun to do this, and I'm excited for this game. If you are new, appreciate the time. Thank you all for checking this one out. Check out these videos as they come up on your screen, and I'll catch you next time.